Krishna. So today is very, very special. The 12th day of the waxing moon of Shravan month, Sridhar month. On this day, both Srila Rupa Goswami Pad and Srila Gauri Pandit made their disappearance on the same tithi, different years. So today we'll discuss about these two personalities. So on the disappearance days of the great Vaishnavas, there was a beautiful song by Narottam Das Thakur that Srila Prabhupada always used to sing. So we request Arjun, Prabhu, to please sing this beautiful song of Narottam Das Thakur, Jaya Nilo Prema Dhana.
Jaya Nilo Prema Karuna
Nila Premadana Karuna Prachur Nila Premadana Karuna Jaya Dago Jaya Dago Rupa Kasanata Rupa Kasanata Padita Baba Amura Bata Juga Kaha Kabira Kale Goda Gela Goda Nadara Matara Anale Pachivo Goranga Gunera Niri Kota Gele Babo Gele Babo Isava Sangira Sange Ye Koilo Bila Jai Nitalila Vishnu Mishapad is Divine Grace the A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananda Gauri Vaishnavrinda ki Sad Goswami Prabhu ki Namacharya Til Haridas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Shama Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan ki Brajabhumi Vrindavan Dham ki Srila Rupa Goswami Pad Tiruba Maha Mahotsav ki Srila Gauri Das Pandit Maha Mahotsav ki Tai Go Premanandi. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru Gauranga. Glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. So today we're going to discuss about Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Gauri Das Pandit being this days today. Om Agyanarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadandigam Adhadanastranandandai Ridam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Dilisyam Janma Janmani Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripasindhu Vaivascha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So we can't even begin to imagine the great contribution that Srila Rupa Goswami has given to the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Every day in our Mangalacharan we repeat this verse, Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sva Vadantikam. The Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam. Man means the heart. Manobhistam, the deep desire within the heart. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale. That desire was hidden. We read in Chaitanya Charitamrita that there was two purposes for Mahaprabhu's appearance in this world. One was to establish this Sankirtan Yajna as the process for self-realization in this dark age of Kali. But secondly, there was a deeper meaning, deeper purpose, and that was to glorify Braja Prem, the special ras, Braj Ras, the special prem, the highest goal of our life is to achieve the prem of Radha and Krishna. That was hidden ras. First part of his life, Mahaprabhu was preaching Sankirtan. The last part, he remained with Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, relishing this Braja Prem, which is very difficult to understand. So therefore, Sri Chaitanya, that hidden desire within the heart of Mahaprabhu, Stapitam. It's like we say, Iskan Samtakacharya Srila Prabhupada. He established that mission, Stapitam Jena Bhutale, on the surface of this earth. Sri Chaitanya Manubhisam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Bring our obeisance to that Srila Rupa Goswami, who established this Braja Prem, this Krishna consciousness movement in this material world. Just like we know we have this book by Srila Rupa Goswami, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. And Prabhupada has told us that is the law book for bhakti. So he has established this within this material world. And he's none other, according to Gauragana Desha Deepika, he's none other than Rupa Manjari. Therefore he knows all the secret things. Manjaris, they're younger. Sometimes from older persons we hide some things. We're afraid to express, just like our parents. We never told them so many things that we did when we were young. But with our younger brothers and sisters, and younger friends, we would reveal so many secret things that we did that our parents didn't know about. So, to the younger, we may not hide so many things. We reveal everything. So he's none other than Rupa Manjari. He knows all the secret things of Radha and Krishna's. He's Rupa Manjari. Manjari, just like when we offer the water to the Lord, we always put a little Tosi Manjari. And that fragrance spreads throughout the water, becomes very pleasing to the Lord. So Rupa Goswami is that little Manjari that spreads this knowledge of Braja Prem to the whole world. When we go to Rupa Goswami's bhajan place in Ter Kadam, above his little shrine honoring him, there's a very nice verse that Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji, Srila Prabhupada's godbrother, always was very fond of chanting. And it's a verse by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, written in his, I believe it's in Mukta Charitra, glorifying Srila Rupa Goswami. He says, Adadanastanandantai Ridam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Duli Syam Janma Janmani. That Adadanastanan Trinam Dantai. Trin we know from Trinadapi Suddhi. Trin means straw. The straw on the street. Because the straw on the street, he's always lying flat. Sometimes we translate it as grass. Some translators say, take a piece of grass. But the grass, he only fakes humility. As soon as you step on him, he goes down. As soon as you go away, boop, he comes back up. But the straw on the street, the grass on the street, he's always paying his sastang pranams. Like that. Dantai, just like we have the word in English, dental. We can understand. Taking a straw between my teeth. Raghunath Das Goswami says, I take a piece of straw between my teeth. This is always a sign. We take some straw between our teeth. Adadanastranandantai. Idam rache puna puna. Yachna means to beg. Puna puna. I'm begging again and again. What I'm begging for? Srimad Rupa Padam Bujo. Duli. Ambu means water, and Ja, just like in a couple of weeks we're going to celebrate Jamastami, Ja means born. Who's born for the water? The lotus. Ambuja is another name for lotus. Padambujo, Padam, we know Padayatra. That those Srila Rupa Goswami, Duli. Duli means dust, just like we heard of Padaduli, Brajaduli. I just want that dust of the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Janma Janmani in my birth, in my life, birth after birth after birth after birth. This is the beautiful prayer of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. So, just about a month ago we were discussing Sanatana Goswami, so we know that Rupa and Sanatana were brothers. Jiva was their nephew, son of Anupam. And we heard that their family originally was in Karnataka, in a very high caste Brahmin family from Karnataka. Gradually their ancestors moved to Naihati, and eventually they moved to Jasore, where Rupa and Sanatana Jiva, everyone was their appearance. From Jasore they moved to Ramakeli, just near God. And we told at that time that Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, they were drafted into the service of the Mohammedan king, Nawab Hussain Shah. Because of this, we heard that Hindu society was very rigid. They were rejected by the ordinary people from Brahmin society. And we know that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one time he decided to go to Vrindavan, but Vrindavan is west from Puri. But he went north to Bengal. In fact, he went so far north, he came all the way to Ramakeli. And actually reveals he was not actually going to Vrindavan, he came just to save Rupa and Sanatan. Because he wanted them for his mission, very important mission. Especially to re-establish Vrindavan. And beautiful Tamal tree is still there. That Tamal tree is where Rupa and Sanatan from a distance. Because they felt themselves very fallen. Mahaprabhu called them near. And accepted them and told them to study Srimad Bhagavatam, and very soon Krishna will free you from your predicament, because they were trapped in this kingly service. So then they advised Mahaprabhu, don't go to Vrindavan, because Mahaprabhu was going with thousands and thousands of people following him. And he said, this is not the way to go to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a very simple place. It was a very simple place. At that time there was no Krishna Balaram guest house, no MBT guest house. Where will Prabhupada has not come and made Vrindavan, put Vrindavan on the map yet. You'll have to wait. So he went as far as Kanai Nutshell, and he considered what Rupa Goswami said was correct. So he went back to Puri. Then another time he went to Vrindavan and actually went to Vrindavan. But he had ordered Rupa and Sanatan that somehow you get free and you come to Vrindavan. I'm also going soon. So it wasn't so easy, especially Rupa had become he had actually even taken a Muslim name, Dabir Khas, and he was a treasurer, and Sanatana Goswami, you heard, was the prime minister. So it wasn't so easy, and they thought about it. So they decided that since Sanatana Goswami's position was very essential, it would be very difficult for him to get permission, so better Rupa to get permission first, then Sanatana would figure out how to get free. So Rupa was thinking about this for some time. Then there was a very huge storm in Bengal. Trees were blowing over, rivers were flooding. Very heavy rainstorm was going on. And in that heavy rainstorm there was a pelican with beautiful embroidered cloth covering the pelican, and 4 pallbearers trying to go through the mud, splash, splash, lightning flashing. And inside that pelican was sitting none other than Rupa Goswami, the Prime Minister. Nawab Hussain Shah had called him. So sloshing through the night, they made some noise, and they passed one villager's house, washerwoman. And her husband said, "Who's there? What is that sound?" And the wife said, washerwoman, she said, it must be either on such a night as this, it can only be a dog, a thief, or kisi rajaka gulam, the slave of some king. And those words, the washerwoman's words, hit Rupa Goswami's ears. And he thought about it. Just like a dog, unless he has some good master, he's very difficult to lead his life very nicely. He's in suffering condition. And he's always ready to the beck and call of his master, with a chain around his neck. He said, my chain, here I'm sitting in this beautiful pelican, gold-plated pelican, gold-leaf pelican, embroidered cloth, everything, and I'm chained to this Nawab Hussain Shah, just like a dog. And a thief, he steals others' property and sells it and makes money to live his life. So I'm selling my life to this king. And with the money I get, I'm trying to enjoy in this material world. I'm just like a thief. Raja ka gulam. Gulam means nothing but a slave. So who else would go out on such a night? A dog, a thief, or kisi Raja ka gulam? So then when he heard those words, he said, now is the time, I'm leaving, this is it. He went back, he told Sanatan, if we both leave now, the Nawab, because he's having a big war with the king of Orissa, he'll think that we've taken the side of the king of Orissa and he'll persecute our relatives. So better I go and then we'll see how to get you free. So Rupa Goswami immediately, he took all of his possessions back to Jasore and distributed everything to all the Brahmins and Vaishnavas, and some to his family members, some he kept for emergency, and he left 10,000 gold coins with one merchant in the town, one grocer was there. In the old days we didn't keep our money in the banks, we kept it with the grocer, the businessman. Because in India, we all know merchant class of men means Vaishya, but in India we never use that word Vaishya, we say Baniya. So Baniya, bank, almost same sound. So that's, he left 10,000 with the banker, the Baniya. And he headed off towards Vrindavan. He took Anupam with him. When they reached to Prayag, they got the word that Mahaprabhu had already been to Vrindavan and was returning, and had reached Prayag a couple of days before. Rupa Goswami's joy knew no bounds. They heard that he was at Mani Madhav temple. So they went there. A very beautiful old temple is there, very nice place. Beautiful deity of form of Lord Vishnu, Mani Madhav, very sweet. And they saw Mahaprabhu dancing in ecstasy, be surrounded by thousands of people. And Rupa Goswami was shedding tears, Anupam was shedding tears, seeing the ecstasy of Mahaprabhu. They didn't bother him at that time, but later they heard that he was staying somewhere near Dashashwamedha Ghat. So there they came and paid their obeisances from afar. But Mahaprabhu called them. On that Dashashwamedha Ghat, we've been there when we have Kumbh Mela in Allahabad. We always, 2 or 3 times during the Mela, we take our Sankirtan party to that Dashashwamedha Ghat, where Rupa Goswami sat with Mahaprabhu for 10 days, and Mahaprabhu revealed everything about the whole science of bhakti, practically the whole nectar devotion he gave him. He started from Shraddha to Sadhu Sangha to Anartha Nivritti, all the way above and finally to Prem. He instructed everything to Rupa Goswami, revealed to him the science of devotional service in great detail. So then he told him, you hurry on. He wanted to go, Mahaprabhu was going back to Puri. He wanted to go to Puri with Mahaprabhu. He said, no, you continue on to Vrindavan. There's a lot of work for you to do. Now one thing to notice, he chose Rupa and Sanatan for this work of revealing the sacred places. This was very, very intelligent on Mahaprabhu's part. Because we just heard they were the servants of the Nawab Hussain Shah. So they had experience dealing with these Muslim rulers. So it wasn't going to go noticed, as we see that we're not far from Delhi, and we're even closer to Agra, both seats of Muslim power at that time. The Sultan was there in Delhi, and Akbar was there in Agra. It was not going to go unnoticed that they were establishing temples and establishing deities. This is not go unnoticed by these rulers. They had their spies everywhere. But Rupa and Sanatan and Jiva Goswami, they're very clever how to deal with these type of people. As long as Rupa and Sanatan were there, they managed to establish their temples and everything. It was later, after they left. So this work was so dear to Mahaprabhu. He gave this work especially to Rupa and Sanatan. We heard also about Bhugarbha and Lokanath and Bhugarbha. Especially Rupa and Sanatan were very important to get this work done. And now we see Vrindavan. Otherwise, we wouldn't see Vrindavan if it wasn't for Rupa and Sanatan. So he continued on to Vrindavan. He got to Mathura. He ran into Subhuti Roy, who was very dear to Sriman Mahaprabhu. And Subhuti Roy took him to tour all the holy places, the 12 forests of Braj. Gave him preliminary tour. So then after that, somehow Rupa decided he wanted to go to, or maybe Mahaprabhu had sent some message, not through Messenger or WhatsApp, but those days somehow somebody would be going somewhere, oh, you carry this letter, a handwritten letter. They carry it, he give it to somebody else, he give it to, finally he would reach his goal after a month or so, 2 months, 3 months. Like that, we can't imagine how we have instant messenger. And called him to Puri. So Rupa Goswami returned with Anupam. When they reached Bengal, then somehow Anupam left his body. They were supposed to go to Puri, but Anupam said, they did everything very responsibly. Not that they renounced the world and left people in trouble, but they had many relatives who were dependent upon them. So they wanted to settle up some family business. But Anupam died. So then Rupa Goswami got delayed. So all the Srivananda Sain and all the devotees who were going to Puri for Rath Yatra, they left. Rupa Goswami had to settle up some family business. So he settled up that family business and he came to Puri. When he came to Puri, he went to stay at Siddhabakul with Haridas Thakur. Is Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, they never entered the Jagannath temple. Neither did Haridas Thakur. Because they felt themselves very fallen and contaminated. So Haridas was overjoyed to get the association of Rupa Goswami. He told that Mahaprabhu had already, because Mahaprabhu knows everything, he knew Rupa Goswami was coming. And he says he comes here to see me every day. So next day Mahaprabhu came. He saw Rupa Goswami, he was very happy. He immediately embraced him and welcomed him to Puri and told him, yes, you stay here with Haridas. Every day Mahaprabhu used to come, Rupa Goswami, he couldn't enter the temple, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to come and visit him. We can't understand the position of Rupa Goswami. Then Rath Yatra festival came. During the Rath Yatra, Mahaprabhu used to chant one verse that sounded just like a cinema song. A young girl pining for her old boyfriend in her youth. And nobody could understand why he's singing cinema song like this. But Swarup Damodar, being very intimate associate of Mahaprabhu, he understood. He put this verse through his mind, spun it around his mind, and he understood. Rupa Goswami had come for the first time for Rath Yatra. He heard this verse. He immediately understood the meaning of this verse. Yeko mara harasa eva hibaras ta eva chaitra shapas techon milita malati surabaya proda kadamma nila sachaivasmi tatapi tatra surato vyapara lila vido reva rodasi vetasi tarutale cheta samudkandate. So the girl is saying, Ye komara hara. That young boy, hara means to steal, who stole my heart in my youth. He's now present before me. And it is the same Chaitra Shabd. This is the month of Chaitra. Chapas means the full moon. The full moon of Chaitra is there. Techo milita malati surabaya. Surab means fragrance. The fragrance of malati is filling the breeze, and proda kadamba nila. Anil is another name for the wind, the breeze. Because Nil we know means blue, like Nila Madhav. So Anil, with no color. We don't see the air, the breeze. He has no color, Anila. Kadamba is proda, there's so much kadamba fragrance in the air. Sa chaivasmi tatapi tatra surato vyapara lila vido. But I'm remembering our wonderful pastimes together in our youth. Reva roda siveta sita rutale cheta samud kantate. Kanta means this throat. Just like these are called Kanti Mala. Sometimes they will say Kunti Mala. It's not Kunti, Kanti Mala, Kanti Mala. So Utkant, above the neck. Sometimes our enthusiasm bubbles up beyond our neck. Utkant. Some Utkant. This girl is saying, I'm extremely desirous to go back to that old place where we enjoyed so many leelas together, underneath by the river Reva, underneath a betasi tree in the forest. I strongly desire. So Rupa Goswami heard this verse. So later he went back, after Rath Yatra, he went back to his bhajan kutir in Siddhabakul, and on a palm leaf he wrote a verse. Priyak soyam Krishna sahachari kurushetra militas tataham sarada taridam ubayo sangama sukam tatapyanta kelan madura murali panchamajuse mano me kalinni pulina vipinaya sprihayati. So it says sahachari, talking about my good friend. Priyam, I met my very dear friend, Priyam Krishna. I met my dear friend Krishna, Kurukshetra Militas. I met him in Kurukshetra. This is the meaning of this verse. This is Radharani seeing Krishna in Kurukshetra. Tataham saradha. I am the same Radha. Tadidam ubayam sangama sukham. In our meeting there is great happiness. But Tatapi Antakelan Madura Murali Panchamadruse Mano me Kalindi Pulina Bipinaya Sprihayati. Spriha, we know, means to desire. I'm desiring to go back to the bank of the Kalindi, Bipinaya, in the forest, where he's playing Antakelan Madura Murali Pancha. On his Murali, he's playing on the fifth note, on his flute. Saragama pa. That's the fifth note. I'm desiring to go back there. So then he wrote this verse. He stuck the palm leaf in his thatched roof, and he went off to take his bath in the sea. Meanwhile, Mahaprabhu came there with Swarup Damodar, and Mahaprabhu himself said that Rupa Goswami, by his own mouth, he told Rupa Goswami's handwriting is like strings of pearls. This is Mahaprabhu's opinion of Rupa Goswami's handwriting. So that string of pearl handwriting caught his attention, stuck in the thatch. He pulled out this verse and he read it, and he looked at Swarup Damodar. He said, how does Rupa Goswami has understood my heart? That time Rupa Goswami appeared, so Mahaprabhu slapped him on the back as he paid his obeisance. We just imagine, just like our Indraduna Swami, he tells a story how he had to work very hard to get, somehow Prabhupada's baggage got lost in the airport and he had to get it. He got back to the temple, there was no prasad, there was no place to stay, there was nothing. He came up, he delivered the bags to Prabhupada's room, he paid his obeisances, and Prabhupada slapped him on the back and told him, when you get to Goloka, there's no problem. You just imagine Mahaprabhu slapping. And he looked at Swarup Damodar again, repeated, how has this Rupa Goswami understood my heart? And so Rupa Damodar says, it can only mean that you have bestowed your mercy upon him. And what did Mahaprabhu said? Yes, I met this Rupa at Prayag, and seeing him a fit personality, I have bestowed my entire transcendental mercy upon him. This is the first time Mahaprabhu says it, not once but twice we'll hear. I displayed my whole transcendental potency upon him. Now we can understand Rupa Goswami. Mahaprabhu's given it not once but twice we'll see. Meanwhile, Rupa had started a drama in Vrindavan describing Krishna's Vrindavan and Dwarka Leela in one drama. On his way to Puri, he passed through Cuttack, just a little ways south of Cuttack. I've been there, there's Satyabhamapur, a beautiful temple of Satyabhama is there. Satyabhama came in his dream, he said, write a separate drama for me. So Rupa Goswami understood that Dwarka Leela and Vrindavan Leela shouldn't be mixed together. When he was staying at Siddhabakul, one time Mahaprabhu, out of the clear blue, because he never told anything about this drama that he was writing, but Mahaprabhu is the self-same Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, in everyone's heart. He knows everything. He told that don't try to take Krishna out of Vrindavan. That Yadu Kumar Krishna is Vasudev Krishna. And Brajendanandan Shyam Sundar is Sri Krishna himself. So then Rupa Goswami understood, yes, I have to divide it in two. So then Mahaprabhu heard that he was writing this drama. So he brought who? Ramananda Roy, Sarvabhauma and Ramananda Roy. Because Ramananda Roy, we know he's expert in relishing ras. He's one of those very close associates of Mahaprabhu. So he brought Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma to hear about this poet. He heard some verses already. So when he got there, he told Rupa, you're writing a drama. Ramananda Roy asked him, you're writing a drama. And Mahaprabhu told, yes, you sing that verse, the hearing which all the devotees became joyful. Mahaprabhu had previously heard this verse from Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami chanted this verse. Tunde tandavani vratim vitanute tundavali labdaye karna kroda kadambani gatayate karnarbudeva spriham cheta prangana sangini vijayate sarvindriyanam kritim no jane janita kiyadbir amritai krishnete varna dvai. Krishnete varna dvai. I do not know how much amrit is in these two syllables, Krishna. When I chant, tunde means mouth or tongue, Tandavani, just like we know Lord Shiva does his Tandav, his dance. That name dances on the tongue. In order to relish the taste on my tongue, Tundavali, I want to have so many tongues. Tundavali means to have many tongues. Karna, we know Karna means the ear. Karna kroda kadambani gatayate karnarbudeva spriham. When it enters the hole of my ear, then Arab, we all know crore, koti. Next measurement after koti is Arab. I want to have billions of ears. There's a secret meaning here. He wants many tongues, but he wants billions of ears. We should talk less and listen more. Cheta prangana sangani vijayate sarvindriyanam. And when that name dances within the courtyard of my heart, then all my senses become inert. We're bothered all day long, our senses are just bothering us, eat this, go there, do this. But when the name actually enters our heart, then we'll become free from all this disturbance. No jane janita kiyad viramritai krishneti varnadvi. Haridas Thakur was dancing in ecstasy hearing this verse. So then, Ramananda Roy knows all about drama. He's an expert dramatist himself. So he said, how do you introduce the drama? And Rupa Goswami gives him a verse. How do you set the scene? How do you enter the narrator? He's quoting all these verses. Finally he says, and what is the Mangalacharan? How do you glorify the Istadev? Then Rupa Goswami put his head down. And Mahaprabhu said, tell, what is the Mangalacharan verse? Tell. So finally he says, Anarpitam charim charat karuna avatirna kalo samarpaitum unata ujala rasam sabakti sriyam haripurata sundara duti kadamba sandipita sararya khandare spuratu bhasachinandana. Anarpitam, just like we do Bog Arpan. The Bog Arpan just happened. They closed the doors and did Bhog Arpan. Anarp, not offered. Chirin Chirat, for a very long time it wasn't given. But Samarpitam Avatirna Kalo, but in this Kali Yuga there's a special Karuna avatar. Samarpayitum, before it wasn't given, now Samarpayitum, freely given. He's freely giving love of Krishna. Unata Ujjala Rasam Se Bhakti Spriyam. The glory of his own prema bhakti he's giving freely. Samarpayitum. Unata Ujjala Rasam. You can almost taste it when you hear the Unata, very shining, developed, pure, ripened, blossomed. Ujjala Rasam, this Sringar Ras, this Madhurya Ras. He's giving it freely. Haripurata Sundara Duti Kadamba Samdipita. And Purata means gold. There's another name for gold. Haripurata Sundar, he's very beautiful with his golden complexion. Kadamba Sandipita. We know kadamba is a flower, but in Sanskrit, kadamba means a large quantity. We see thieves steal just, if you go to Colombia, they'll rip the gold earrings right out of the ears of the girls on the street. Like that, just a little piece of gold. So Mahaprabhu, when he stretched his arms out to the sky dancing, how attractive that must be. Little piece of gold is so attractive, a huge quantity of gold. Haripurata Sundara Duti Kadamba Sandipita, he's glowing with like a huge quantity of gold. May that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always remain within the, we say core, but in Sanskrit we say cave of the heart. Sadavriya Kandare Spuratu Ba Sachinan. May that Sachinan always remain within my heart. Then Mahaprabhu became upset. What is this nonsense verse? Now, this was like sweet rice, but now you put some sand in the sweet rice. It's like sweet rice is very nice, but if somebody puts sand in it, just imagine, they make sweet rice with sand in it. Sweetness is there, but... And Ramananda Roy said, no, this is like black pepper and camphor. If you ever put black pepper and camphor in the sweet rice, it becomes Amrita Keli. It's so wonderful. It's all right, go on. So then they go on, verse after verse, getting more and more ecstatic. Then finally, Ramananda Roy says, this is not a drama. This is a constant flow of nectar flowing freely from the heart of Rupa Goswami. Nobody can write poetry like this unless they're empowered by the Lord. No one can write poetry unless they're empowered by the Lord. And second time Mahaprabhu says, yes, I met this Rupa in Prayag, and seeing him a fit personality, I have given him my entire transcendental potency to reveal Ras. So Rupa Goswami is our Rasacharya. So this is twice Mahaprabhu says, we can understand the position of Rupa Goswami. He's not ordinary person. So then we know later he finished his Vidagdha Madhav's pastimes in Vrindavan, Lalita Madhav's pastimes in Dwarka. He finished them in Vrindavan at Ter Kadam. Very beautiful place. A very interesting pastime, because Rupa Goswami was always anxious to get Srimati Radharani's mercy. Because he understood this is our Gaudiya, we're more interested in Radharani than Krishna. It's like we can hear on the lecture, the morning walk takes Prabhu. See, here in Vrindavan everyone says Jai Radhe. They're interested. So he was staying at Terkadam, and he heard that his brother Sanatana Goswami had come to Pavan Sarovar. So he was thinking, let me offer some nice thing. For those of you who've been to Terkadam, you know, even now, 500 years later, there's nothing there. Now there's some fields and things, that was just jungle. Where he'll get something nice to eat in the jungle. But he was feeling like this. So at that time, very beautiful gopi girl from the village came. And said, Baba, And he looked up, he saw this girl, and Rupa Goswami is not attached to anything in this material world, but he saw this beautiful golden gopi girl with beautiful lotus petal eyes. His mind was completely enchanted. He said, Baba, Baba, there was wedding today and my mata gave some sweet rice that was left over. Said, go give it to some Baba doing bhajan in the forest. So she handed this pot of sweet rice to Srila Rupa Goswami. And this was not ordinary sweet rice. We just put some cashews and some raisins and some cardamom and we think we got fancy sweet rice. But in India, when we want to make fancy sweet rice, we know how to make it, not just cashews and cardamom and raisins. We put little brown seeds called chironji and kesher, saffron, so many things. And sometimes we put makana, puffed lily seeds. Very opulent sweet rice. So immediately he ran to Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami looked at the sweet rice. He knows his brother's living in the forest with nothing there. Where you got the sweet rice? He said some beautiful girl came. She said there was some wedding. Well, no wedding today, because Sanatana Goswami knows everything. He's very dear. Dira. He's dear to the gentle and the ruffians. Everybody knows. He knows everything. He said no wedding today. Then Sanatana Goswami tasted the sweet rice. Tears came from his eyes, his whole body began to quiver. Then they both understood, oh, that must have been Radharani, because Rupa Goswami was just begging for somehow or other to get the mercy of Radharani. Radharani has come and brought this sweet rice. And they both began to cry, and mixed with their tears, they ate the sweet rice. Anyway, there's so many stories about Srila Rupa Goswami we could tell, but time is going on. We want to glorify something about Gauri Das Pandit, but anyway, I hope you can understand the significance of Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami Pada Ki. So Gauri Das Pandit was a very dear associate of Nityananda Prabhu. He's one of the 12 Gopals. Actually, Gauragana Deshadipika says he's Subal. So this is very interesting because he's one of our very great acharyas. And generally we think of Gaudiya Sampradaya, we think of Sringar Ras, Madhurya Ras. But he was in Sakya Ras, Sakya Prem. He was Subal. And even more interesting, his disciple Hridaya Chaitanya was in Madhurya Ras. He was Sakya Ras, the Guru was Sakya Ras. So this is very, very interesting. We'll hear about it. So anyway, Gauri Das Pandit was born in a place in Navadvip called Shaligram. And later, taking permission from his brother Suryadas Sarkal, he moved to a place called Ambika Kalna. If you go to the Navadvip train station and you take the train about first is Bhagnapara and I can't remember now, there's 3 train stations. Third train station is Ambika Kalna. It's on the opposite side of the Ganga from Shantipur, from Advaitacharya's place. So sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, sometimes Nityananda Prabhu, sometimes he used to visit Gauri Das Pandit because he was a very great devotee. He established a beautiful temple of Jagannath and Radha Krishna there. One time, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they took a boat across the Ganga from Shantipur to visit Ambika Kalna. And everybody knows, you get off the train at the Ambika Kalna station, you say Gauri Das Pandit, everyone knows. It's the ways from the train station, you take a rickshaw and you go. So they came there, and Mahaprabhu brought the oar from the boat with him. And he gave that oar to Gauri Das Pandit, said, you take this oar, and you go across the ocean of material existence and take all the fallen living entities with you. When you go there, if you ask them, they'll bring out this display box. You can see that oar that was handed to him by Sriman Mahaprabhu's very lotus hand. And he also gave him a Bhagavad Gita that they say is written by the hand of Sriman Mahaprabhu, palm leaves. They keep that very hidden, but sometimes they'll show it to you. So Gauri Das Pandit, they stayed there with him for some time. He was heartbroken when they wanted to leave. He said, no, you can't leave. I'm feeling so happy in your association. No, we have to go and spread the Sankirtan movement. This is our mission. He said, no, you can't go, you can't go. So then Mahaprabhu said, look, what is the difference between the Lord and the deity? He said, no difference. Just like every day we're doing this wonderful Julan Yatra. The Supreme Personality Godhead, who's creating billions of universes, at the same time later He's destroying them all. He takes this beautiful little form and allows us to swing Him in a golden swing. This is incredible mercy, this Archa Vigraha. It's not metal or stone or earth or wood. It's the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. So Gauri said, no difference. He said, then you call one carpenter, we'll pose, and you get deities made of us. And the deities will stay here. So Gauri said, okay. So these deities, they were probably the only deities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the planet, same time as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he carved them. You can see Nityananda, he's a little bit stouter and taller than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So then Gauridas looked at Mahaprabhu and he saw the deities and they installed them, and he said, so, the deities are non-different from you? And Mahaprabhu said, yes, non-different. All right, then let the deities go and preach and you stay here with me. So then suddenly Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, they froze and became deities, and the deities unfroze and they began to walk. He said, no, you're cheating me, no. So wait, you stop, you stay here. And then the deities, the deities again became deities, and Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, they again became not. No, you're cheating me. And then they changed back, and finally he lost track who was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a deity. So he accepted that the deities stay with him. Therefore, when you go there to Ambika Kalna, they leave the door open for a little while, then they shut it. They're afraid he may walk away again. There's another time to tell right now how he walked away. But very, very gorgeous deities, Neemwood deities. And just behind his house, his older brother Suryadas Sarkar built a house in Ambika Kalna, so just behind the temple there. And we know Suryadas Sarkar gave his two daughters, Janava and Vasudha, to Lord Nityananda Prabhu in marriage. So he had a disciple named Hridayananda. And he trained him very well in taking care of the deities. And one time he decided, because all sadhus, they like to go travel, see holy places and learn things from other sadhus. So he went traveling. And he left Hridayananda in charge. Gradually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birth appearance day was coming. And this is, hundreds of years ago, they didn't do Gaur Purnima festival. It wasn't until much later. Practically Narottam Das started this Gaur Purnima festival idea. So he thought, it's Mahaprabhu's appearance day, we should do some festival. But he didn't have any order from Gauridas Pandit, his guru, but then he thought, anyway, let me do this. So he sent out invitations, he invited all the different sadhus and devotees and Vaishnavas. And then they began cooking a big feast. Meanwhile, Gauridas Pandit came home from his travels on that very day, and he saw all this cooking is going on, big hullabaloo is going on. And he said to Hridayananda, what are you doing? I didn't order this. You become so independent in my absence. What is this? He said, anyway, it's Mahaprabhu's appearance day. I thought we should do some festival. Then you do your festival. I want to be with my deities. Now you go to the bank of the Ganga. So they moved all the kirtan and everything and the cooking down to the bank of the Ganga. And Gauridas sat down and began to cook for his deities. And he was very famous cook. He served his deities into his very old, even in his old age, he would cook for his deities. So many different varieties of sak and so much different varieties of rice. And the deities, they told Gauridas, you stop this, you're getting old now, you can't cook so much. He said, no, this is my service. So the next day they offered, and they used to eat, he could watch them eat in front of his eyes, the deities would eat the boga. But this particular day they didn't eat. He said, why are you not eating? We told you yesterday you're too old to cook all these things. We don't like to see you laboring like this. It's all right, but you eat this, then tomorrow I won't cook. So like that, the Gauridas had these wonderful pastimes. So he began to cook this wonderful feast for his deities. Then he came in the temple room, and the deities were gone. And he looked down by the bank of the Ganga. The big kirtan was going on with Hridayananda, and Gauri Nitai were dancing in the kirtan. Only a few fortunate souls could see that they had left the temple and gone there. And Gauridas Pandit, he picked up a stick and he ran to the bank of the Ganga, and he began to chase Gauri Nitai. So they jumped into the side of the heart of Hridayananda. He said, you get back into the temple, you get back in the temple. And from that day, Hridayananda became known as Hriday Chaitanya, because within his Hriday, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had hidden himself. And Hriday Chaitanya, he was the guru of Shyamananda Prabhu. He named him Dukhi Krishna Das, but later Radharani here in Vrindavan gave him the name Shyamananda. So these are a little peek into the pastimes of Gauridas Pandit. The Gauridas Pandit ki jai. So we'll put our voice to rest here. If there's any questions, we can try to give some answer. Hare Krishna.